Hi, hold on, I gotta set the chat. Okay, I set the chat. Okay. Welcome everybody to my live. Remember, if you want to comment on one of my lives, you have to be a member. Okay, thank you to YouTube who sponsors my channel and also allows us to be together as a collective and support the narrative about justice for Aaron. Okay. So thank you everybody who does support my work as far as like buying the YouTube membership, by emailing evidence shatteredwindows7@gmail.com, who donates to the channel, who purchases my books, and also shares out the videos. Thank you. Thank you everybody who does that. Okay, so the reason why I'm jumping on today is because I feel like maybe sometimes, I get ahead of what I'm putting out as far as like content, or maybe people are just new, welcome to my day ones, who are just starting to follow StellaRoseAllDay. And what I've been getting a lot recently from the fan mail is the Instagram posts about kids' mental health awareness and all of the work that, they had the release of the Recovery album by Aaron Carter. And, the fans did ask for that music to be released back after Aaron crossed over to the other side. And that was made available to his fans, and that is a good song. How the logistics work out about like who gets his money and stuff like that. So that all has to go through like a probate through an estate. Okay. So right now I know people are like, well, they're doing it again with the mental health narrative with Aaron Carter. And why is it that, even though ATM Richie, also known as Jovan Williams, who confessed to killing Aaron Carter, is sitting in Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department jail. Okay. Does their family not know that Aaron, was unalived? Or are they part of the narrative of the cover-up? So the whole thing is what a RICO Act is, okay? So basically it's racketeering, and I put the description in my community tab. So if anybody is profiting off of Aaron's death, okay, and later on they're found to have been part of a cover-up, then they will be considered part of the RICO Act. And so, but there's two words there, RICO Act, okay? And so the act part is what's going on right now, how they're acting like that's how Aaron died. And one of the delays in all of this has to do with the original sheriff, okay, and it was Ray Lugo from the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, homicide detective, was the one that walked Betty out of the house in less than 5 minutes. I mean, I'm not in homicide, okay, and I don't look at dead bodies, but I think if I would have saw one that was waterlogged for 72 hours, I probably wouldn't just let the only witness allegedly that was there walk out the door in 5 minutes. But hey, I can't tell Hollywood cops how to do their job, okay? What I can do is report corruption, which is what I have been doing, okay? So normally what happens is in a high profile case, okay, that if the name would have been anything but Carter, it would have never have turned out like this, okay? But you got that literally trump card, okay, with the name Carter, which is basically like a government name for like let him off, because they're somehow related back to President Jimmy Carter, okay? It's like Carter could do no wrong, as long as it's your last name, okay? So like, Check the Star should basically just change his last name to Carter, and probably will just fly right through all of the problems that he has going forward, right? Okay, so now, no, for real though, like Jay-Z Carter, okay? You don't think Jay-Z and P. Diddy, do you think that they had any kind of affiliation? Of course they did. Of course they did. It's just who's gonna get caught holding the bag, okay? Like, what is that guy? The drug mule for Diddy, Paul Logan or whatever. He was the one caught holding the bag with the drugs, okay? So it like lessens the charges because there's more people involved. But anyway, that's Diddy's case. I think you're gonna see Justin Bieber flip on him. But remember what Aaron Carter said about Justin Bieber? That Justin Bieber was Aaron Carter's replacement. So the Biebs should be paying attention to what's going on in this case. So the reason why the FBI got involved is because I called them. And I said, hey, I have reason to believe, I have a reasonable suspicion, reasonable doubt, okay, that Aaron Carter was murdered. And I'm not going to say that your sheriff covered up the job. I'm going to say that he looked the other way, okay? And the autopsy report, yeah, the curtains don't match the drapes there either. And that's a public document. So you can't enter something into the public record and it be fraudulent. It needs to be revised. And I said, if I can provide evidence to support these claims that are coming forward from the fans, will you hear me out? Just give me a shot. Okay? I'm not going to just put allegations out there unless I have evidence attached to it, because I know if we go in front of a judge is going to want to see evidence. That's what they rule on. There's no evidence, the judge can't make a ruling. It just gets thrown out, gets dismissed. So I felt that the homicide detective, okay, who handled the case in Lancaster, Ray Lugo, okay, and at the time was a 27-year veteran, also too, though, Aaron's a celebrity, so it's a high profile case, okay? So maybe, I don't know, did not such a great job on the file, okay? But because I suspected that there was corruption, I did get involved with the FBI on that, okay? And that's what you're supposed to do. And that's why I did that live video about R. Kelly and the journalist that worked for the Chicago Sun-Times. Because Aaron's fans came and got me, okay? They came and got me, and they said, we think something smells fishy and we're not at, Red Lobster. And so, because it was a compelling amount of people who felt the same way, and they provided the evidence, then I started to do the reporting, okay? When a reporter, okay, and I'm on my 4th book, okay, and I'm actually I've written more books, but I'm gonna publish my 4th book. I've written more, they're not published. Maybe I will someday, we'll see. When an established true crime author receives evidence, okay, like confession tapes for a celebrity, like ATM Richie was the one that said, I admit it, I did it, I killed Aaron Carter, okay? And then actually described what went on, okay? And that was on video. And the fans, Aaron Carter's fans, they wanted to make sure that the police received those tapes, those confession tapes, okay? And I think there's like 3 or 4. I know for sure I have 3 of them, but there might be a 4th one. Anytime I get evidence, I have to turn it over to the police. That's how, when, you know, like you might have seen Surviving R. Kelly, but Surviving R. Kelly started with a person that wrote for the Chicago Sun-Times. And he turned in evidence tapes to law enforcement of, which became the tape, okay, for the R. Kelly trials. And when, so, because that was a story that I was following. And then that's why when I got the confession videos, I actually did call the sheriff's station, and I did have contact with the homicide detective, and he did talk to me, and he told me that if somebody killed Aaron Carter, that they would arrest him and lock him up, and they did. They're just not telling that to the public. Maybe some of it is because, you know, they know that he didn't act alone. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I think that Aaron's family that does the, you know, the mental health, the mental health, the mental health, the mental health. And it's like, but your older brother, Nick Carter, is being sued by, I think it's up to 10 women, okay, in 3 different states for sexual assault. So, I mean, what is your brother doing to promote this? Why is he drawing it to him? Even if he, let's just give him the benefit of the doubt, innocent until proven guilty. But then when I interviewed somebody on one of my lives who actually produced evidence of Nick Carter grabbing her, which she said he grabbed my tit, okay, while she was doing like a backstage event or something. She met the Backstreet Boys, and it was Nick Carter, and it was Kevin Richardson, okay? And what happens when people who are being accused of sexual assault, that, you know, businesses cease doing business with them as an opportunity for them to clear up their legal issues. Just because they're not doing business with them doesn't mean that, like, they're not giving him a chance to have his day in court, you know. But as long as a company is going to support somebody who, like, you have to know who you're hiring. You know what I'm saying? Like, when the Christmas catalog came out for Urban Outfitters, and it had a Backstreet Boys t-shirt on there, I was like, oh, so you do, you hire people that are currently being sued for sexual assault? I'm not saying that he has to be canceled, but he definitely has to be put on pause. And, you know, I mean, again, a RICO Act is literally an act. What do you expect these people to do? How do you expect them to act? Okay, they're at one point, I feel like they weren't really, like, they were afraid of me, but they thought that they could drown me out with all this other noise. And like, now they know, like, the more that they try to attack me, the more that they're calling attention to themselves. So for the people who think that I didn't work with law enforcement, or I wasn't really doing what I said I was doing, you know it now, don't you? Right? You know it now, right? Okay. So the thing is like also, I mean, Taylor Helgeson in hiding again, August of 2023. It was right around like August 15th. Something switched there, okay? Something switched because all of a sudden he went from like, oh, look, I'm on the Delta VIP club, okay? Look, they're giving me BLT sandwiches before I board the plane, okay? To nowhere to be found and like, oh, look, I'm still eating good once in a while in these dungeon restaurants, all right? Check, pretty much a homeless person because like doesn't have an address, does he? You can't be running around like he does, catching plane to plane to plane to plane unless you're running from something, okay? And the thing is like literally it's a game of Russian roulette because if Melanie knows that Taylor's the dad to Prance and she's trying to extort Walgreens, they both could get into trouble for extorting Walgreens because again, it's a RICO Act, okay? So in a RICO Act, it's multiple people, you know? Is there truth to the statement that was made that Sony was the one that allegedly started it? I mean, I don't know. I think the person that really started it was Lori Knight. I don't know who financed it. I mean, you could say maybe the forensic accountants could look into to Sony's finances. I mean, they definitely have cause to do so, and I'll tell you why. Because they claimed, okay, Aaron's team claimed that Aaron made $200 million before he reached double digits in age. So he was like at the most 11, okay? At 11 years old is when he claimed he fired Lori Knight on the set of the Jay Leno show because she molested him. And then what happened is his career went, "Wah," okay? She still was his manager and managing Nick Carter at the same time. And that was like a conflict of interest because Aaron claimed that Nick also abused Aaron, okay? And he did make reference to not just alcohol abuse, okay, or the physical abuse, but also an SA abuse, okay? And he also said that Aaron thought that Nick sexually assaulted Leslie, okay? Aaron also said that Nick sexually assaulted a 79-year-old woman that was on hospice by the name of Mildred, okay? These were allegations that Aaron Carter made about his brother, Nick Carter, okay? So when the family, in my opinion, is spewing the mental health narrative, it's because they still want you to think that Aaron drowned in that tub, okay? But Aaron didn't drown in that tub, okay? They found him in that tub, and shoddy investigative work, okay, that would have said that Aaron drowned in that tub would have given you the result that they gave us, that we rejected as a collective and said, oh no. If that's what you think, then here, look at what we've got, okay? So the thing is like, I provide the evidence that I get from the tip line that I set up, okay? That's very active, by the way, okay? I mean, it's an everyday, all day thing, 24/7 tip line about Aaron Carter and his suspicious death, okay? And the characters that we are implying is a RICO Act, okay? And I compile the evidence, all right, and I send it to the people who can do something about it, okay? And then after so long, I'm gonna publish it in a book and we can just cross-reference it, okay? Maybe not all of the information that I give to the people that are investigating it, maybe, you know, it's not all what we think it is when we submit it, okay? Or, you know, I mean, it's still a lot to ask when you're asking for a murder conviction, okay? It's something that they have to be able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt, okay? Beyond a reasonable doubt, they have to prove that this is happening. I think that Hollywood is a place where people go and their souls just get sucked out of them, and then there isn't anything left. And that's just what happens in Hollywood. It's just a bunch of people, you know, kill other people because it's a very competitive market, you know. And so circling back to the $170 million that was never accounted for, in Aaron's music portfolio, okay? And so I guess the question is where's the $170 million that was never accounted for, okay? So if Aaron Carter's manager worked for Aaron Carter and worked for Nick Carter at the same time, and they claim that Aaron made $200 million, but could only account for $30 million of it, where's the other $170 million? Did Sony just not pay Aaron Carter what his royalties? Now, if Aaron really was the first Justin Bieber, and Justin Bieber sold his music catalog for $200 million, what was Aaron's catalog worth? And this is just a question, would it be Sony who would want Aaron, because they didn't pay him the first time and they're not going to pay the estate the second time? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Here's the caveat there. And this is why Taylor, I almost said Teller. Maybe he will tell on her. Taylor Helgeson's in hiding is because they thought they had this lock, stock, and barrel. They're like, Aaron Carter, nobody cares about him. Like, literally, he could die. Nobody would question it. We'll just paint this narrative, okay, of being like, you know, a mental drug addict. And then we'll get the coroner to write it off. You know, it'll just be under the table payout, under the table payout, under the table payout, you know. And then what we'll do is we'll siphon out his estate through an heir, okay? But literally there was an error in the air, okay? Because when Aaron died, Prance became an award of the state of California. So when I notified the person that was doing the estate that they were going to have to do their due diligence, because we have evidence that there was DNA testing done and Prance was not Aaron Carter's dad, okay? Plus other evidence, okay, that was produced. And then I think they found out that, you know, it wasn't so in the bag like they thought it was going to be, right? And so they're like, oh, okay, now the information about the DNA evidence has become available. Well, okay, so now that makes Taylor a suspect because Melanie and Taylor produced Prance, and then, you know, Taylor's prescription bottle was at the scene. So, and then, you know, wasn't it Melanie, my memory correctly? I believe it was Melanie that said that Louis was trying to put Aaron's house in his name before he died. Plus, they like robbed all of his assets and everything. And then after the executor was notified that they need to DNA test that kid, and I basically published it in the first book, then what happened? The other DNA sample went to Canada, okay? So it's not as, so when you're talking about justice for Aaron, it's happening every day. It's happening every day, all the time. Okay, it's happening. It's happening. They want to attack me because why? Because I have a following. Okay, I have an audience and I have supporters, and it's growing. My base is growing, and they see that because they monitor it, and they don't like it because I'm no longer just a blip on the radar. All right. But for those that, need to know, have proof that, I am involved with law enforcement, it's not an issue for me to have them stop by and say hello, if that's what you're requesting. I mean, I can't do it for everybody, but if you're going to stalk me, I'm going to do it. Just know that. So, yeah, basically it was just an overwhelming, but Angel Conrad Carter's posting on this mental health, and, Lori Knight's posting on this mental health, and then Melanie's posting on this mental health. And it's like I told you before, it's the Three of Cups, okay? It's the Three of Cups. Things happen in threes, okay? Things happen in threes, all right? Angel and Melanie were always working together, okay? And who else works together with Angel Conrad all the time? Oh, this person over here, Lori Knight, okay? Because the music industry doesn't want to pay out more claims to the victims because the payouts are huge, okay? The payouts are huge. The Backstreet Boys will never recover. If one of those girls, okay, wins her case, and they'll probably try to tie it up in appeals or whatever, it's not going to be some small dollar amount, because essentially if it happened at like a concert or a meet and greet, the Backstreet Boys, security detail, which we have in the first book, War of Angels, a documentary on the death of Aaron Carter. The article link to the alleged incident that happened in 1997 with Molly Golightly and Nick Carter. That's why those two are like this, when she's like, I stand with Nick Carter. Okay. And I also feel as though it's very disrespectful for Aaron's team to use I stand with Nick Carter and hashtag I stand with Aaron Carter, one right after the other, because Nick put a restraining order against Aaron, okay? They were at odds. They weren't standing together, okay? If Nick was such a stand-up guy, why is Leslie dead? Why is BJ dead? Why is Aaron dead, okay? They finally got the two duo, like Batman and Robin, and then we got Bonnie and Clyde. Excuse me, with Taylor and Melvin, okay? They're going to try everything they can to try to discredit me, but I don't have to worry about that because everything I say is the truth and I can always back it up. Otherwise, I wouldn't speak it. You don't think I know what kind of world we live in? I'm very much aware. The FBI was the one that provided me with the list of casualties and the people that spoke up about Aaron Carter. I didn't even have to go look that up myself, although some of you know who those people are. So that's what it is. The second book is going about the RICO Act, okay? And just about everything I could put in that book without getting myself into you know, hot water. Like they found the Friends star, Matthew Perry, in hot water because he was probably in hot water about something. So it's like, that's what Hollywood does. It's like, they're not going to ruin the whole Friends franchise over an allegation from one of the group. And that's the problem, see? The problem is that, okay, you had 5 Backstreet Boys, right? The first 2 claims were involving AJ and Nick, and that was in 1997, right? And that was already 2 out of the 5. What sunk them was when I did that interview and the fan came on and provided the evidence that Nick Carter and Kevin Richardson grabbed her tits and signed it. Okay? That was the 3 against the 2. That's what sunk them. That's why she was probably on CBS instead of ABC News, because ABC News is their first line of defense. That's why it was ABC News outside of Aaron's house on November 5th, okay? Listen, they know that Melanie was there, okay? They know that Melanie was there. So however long from me telling you that they know Melanie was there to the day she gets caught, I don't know, okay? I don't know how long it's going to take. I'm not Father Time. I don't run the universe. I don't tell the sun to get up. It's another day. We need you to shine brightly. No, I don't do any of that, okay? The only thing that I do is I present evidence to the authorities, and then it makes it out into the press, okay? That's all that I do. That's it. If there's enough evidence there for law enforcement to act on it, great. And if there isn't, then I just made some YouTube videos and printed some books. It's not a big deal. But, I mean, we have to look at how it's really going, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're really driving in hard about the mental health narrative because that's the only thing that they have to cling to. That's it. That's all that they got. They're just like a raggedy, like, United States flag on a flagpole that's about to fly off, you know what I'm saying? But it's just raggedy right now. It's just raggedy right now, you know what I'm saying? But it's still intact, even though it's ratchet. It takes time, especially with the legal system. You know what I'm saying? Like, they need you to think that Aaron was a drug addict mental because that's how Nick gets out of his lawsuits, okay? Because his incomplete defense rests on Aaron being a mental. Now, did anybody ever send Mr. Nick Carter to get a mental evaluation? How about some investigations with him? You know what I'm saying? What about that? What about that? Okay? Because if he's going to come out smelling like a rose, I need to see the rose. I need to see the rose. Not the thorns. I need to see the rose. I need to see if it's healthy or not. Okay? But we're not getting evidence of any of that. So, my narrative on my channel is that Aaron Carter was murdered. Okay? And I would say that somebody sitting in, the person that I turned in the confession tapes to the police, for him sitting in Los Angeles Sheriff's Department jail on a felony with no bail and no disposition code, that's normally murder charges in California. But hey, don't take my word for it. Look it up yourself. I provide all of the links on how to go ahead and access all the information that I've ever accessed on this case. I put it up on YouTube or I put it in my books, okay? I'm not hiding any of the evidence. None of the evidence. None of the evidence is hidden, okay? What happens is I produce the evidence, like when the Wikipedia page said that a DNA test was done, was not a DNA match to Aaron Carter, okay? I mean, is Wikipedia a reliable source? I mean, a lot of it is the narratives can be changed. Like when we put on there about how Lori Knight had all of Nick's sexual assault cases taken off, scrubbed off of Wikipedia, but it's still going on. They're just taking it out of the public references, and then that way they're like, well, then they could try to call me a liar or try to discredit me. Okay. Also, if you're somebody who's taking my content and reposting it on your page, that's illegal, okay? That's called copyright infringement. This live that I'm doing right now belongs to me. I own it. You're not allowed to screen record my lives, any of the work that I do, and repost it as your own work. It also does not count as the Fair Use Act. You really need to look up fair use and the definition in order for you to apply it, okay? Because there's terms and conditions with that. You can't just say, oh, it's fair use and I'm gonna do that. You can't do that, okay? So there'll be some cease and desist orders going out later today because like I work for YouTube, right? I'm working for YouTube right now. If somebody takes my content and reposts it, they're violating my copyright. There is no, you can't take my transcripts and retranscript them and repost them. No, you can't do that. You don't know copyright law, okay? I've been very lenient in not charging people legal fees, you know, for violating my copyright infringement, but I'm going to start doing that because you're stealing from me and it's not right. It's against the law, okay? You're stealing from me and it needs to come down. I am covered by copyright. That's the law. So just know that. You're obviously very uneducated people, some of you, who think that, you know, you can just steal what isn't yours and then just say, oh, but I'm protected by this disclaimer. No, there's certain terms and conditions. What you're doing is you're taking my content and reposting it as your content because you're completely irrelevant to Aaron's case and you're trying to stay relevant. You're clout chasing. You're trying to get views, okay? However you want to paint it, like, you know, you can call me any name in the book, but, you know, and that's fine for you to have your opinion. You can't repost my work. Go, you know, move on to somebody else who maybe doesn't care or is not as popular or that doesn't have a following, or do whatever you need to do, but you're gonna need to move along and get out of my space, okay? So just know that. I've been on this journey with everybody since November 5th of 2022, and I'm committed to staying with the project until we feel as though that we are going to be satisfied with some sort of justice when it comes to Aaron's case. Now, again, I want to urge you that the better justice is the spiritual justice. If you're waiting to feel some kind of gratification or vindication about Aaron Carter's death being, you know, like it needs to go through the court system, and that's where you have to have faith that it will get there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it'll get there. You're on the same page as everybody else who's watching all the same profiles, spinning all the same narrative, and we're all standing around going, oh my God, Soleil Moon Frye doesn't even know what she just got herself into. That's what we call a drive-by, you know? Wrong place, wrong time. Assassination by association, you know what I mean? It's like Lance Bass, same thing with the Songs by Forever Tomorrow concert or whatever BS crap that they said that they were doing to help Aaron. Look, if you wanted to help Aaron Carter, you should have done that when you could have done that, okay? Not go out there and be a spokesperson for some charity who, how did that benefit Aaron Carter? No, it's benefiting your narrative of Aaron Carter because it might keep some people out of jail. It might keep Sony from paying Jane. Because I'm going to tell you right now, part of justice for Aaron is that Aaron's legacy goes to the right person. And at this point, until somebody can prove proper error, like they're really produced an error, it's Jane, okay? So they don't want Jane to be right. They don't want Jane to have anything. They want you to think that Jane's some whatever, okay? You know, we have brains and we have intelligence and we have knowledge. And you know what? I'll make my own judgment of what I think about Jane if I want to have a judgment, when I want to have a judgment, okay? I'm surely not going to take Dumber and Dumbest, okay? Who I think I just get my narrative from all the evidence that I've come across that I can't give to everybody, okay? I don't think it'd be legal for me to even do it because some of it was like human trafficking, okay? And then we had the Jared from Subway stuff, okay? So yeah, there's absolutely some stuff I can't pass on. I just can't do it, you know? It's not legal for me to do so. But like, my opinion of Lori Knight is like she's really creepy, okay? And so like I want to put her in the same space as like an Ellen DeGeneres. And am I really that far off? Because like Angel Carter Conrad and Gail were talking, and it literally happened like 2 days after I posted the picture of Gail behind Bill Gates. And like, you know, here's the thing. I don't think that Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide, okay? I think he's a free man somewhere, okay? I don't think he's dead, but I think that, like, you know, for all the people that were involved in his case, and I mean, dude, we got high profile names, right? Like President Bill Clinton. And then as soon as you say Clinton, what do you think of? Philip Grand Mason, Adam 22, dad, Adam 22's son of Philip Grand Mason, who received a pardon from President Bill Clinton, okay? That means that President Bill Clinton was in his office and said, oh, this guy, pardon me, literally, you know, pardon me is excuse me, excused that person, okay? Why did he excuse that person? Because he knew that person and he was able to convince that person to get his little excuse, okay? And that's why because people are like, how can Adam 22 be running around doing the things that he's doing that's published on YouTube, okay? And like nothing seems to happen to this guy yet. Biden's not going to get in for another term, I hope. You know what I mean? If he does, then we're all just going to have to move to Mexico and let Mexico take over the United States. I mean, they're taking over anyway, you know, but if we go to Mexico, what kind of benefits do we get? Are they going to put me up in an all-inclusive hotel, feed me, give me Uber, free medical, and I get to sit on a beach? Hey, take it. You know what I'm saying? So I think with Ellen being in the spotlight, I think with Oprah being in the spotlight, Gail wasn't necessarily a safe alternative. And then with Gail's association with Microsoft back to Epstein, Bill Clinton back to Epstein, Prince Andrew back to Epstein. There's one person in jail and you have these high profile people that are just walking around and you're going to tell me that there isn't payoffs going on? When Belinda divorced Bill Gates, she took half of his money, okay? So that was one. She was like, bye, I don't care. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here, okay? And she took her piece and she left, all right? So half his wealth got taken out right there. I mean, more than half of his life is over, so he might not need it. But the point is like Prince Andrew's still running around over there where the castles are. You know what I'm saying? Like they just shuttered him to like the top of the tower, and he's got to sit there with Fergie because like he can't go out anywhere because he was publicly shamed. Okay, same thing here with Nick Carter. You're not seeing him running around. The only reason why Downey is still playing their thing is because maybe they haven't gotten the memo yet, okay? But they might get it from the Walgreens Corporation notifying them that you can't sell your stuff in our store anymore because like that dude is part of the people that are trying to RICO Act, extort Walgreens for killing Aaron Carter, okay? I mean, what else? Seriously. iHeartRadio, owned by Disney, South Florida, Y100.7, Miami Y100 still plays Backstreet Boys music. Why? What's the connection with Southern Florida? I mean, Orlando, yeah, Disney corporate is in Orlando, but I mean, I guess because they were running ads for the Cocoa Beach, which is like the first beach that's like south of Orlando, but it's still kind of weird because I listen to like different radio stations, like even international radio stations, and that's the only place that, or like if I'm in a store where they haven't been clued in yet, they're still playing like the old everybody, okay, whatever. But eventually that'll get filtered out. I mean, what do you expect their family to do? Just be like, I mean, admit it? No. It's going to be deny until you die. But one more thing I want to talk about with Jane. Okay? Here's the thing. First of all, that's another problem. Is Jane would be the one, if anybody was going to sue anybody, it'd be Jane. So Jane would be suing Lancaster Police Department, okay? Not Jane wouldn't listen. If Walgreens killed Aaron Carter, why isn't Jane Carter suing them? Because Walgreens didn't do that. They're extorting Walgreens, okay? If anybody has a claim to Aaron's estate, it's Jane, all right? Jane could do a wrongful death lawsuit and she'd win, okay? She'd win. They have their first suspect incarcerated, okay? Second problem. Now, Bob Carter was married 3 times. He had a child with his first wife, and she died. The child died. With Jane, they had 5. There's only 2 left who are in cahoots with each other. Then, with his third wife, they had the 1 boy, and there was a stepsister, not blood related. But Bob died too. Remember, they suspected Bob's death to be suspicious because he died in the back of like a broke down tour bus, okay? If Aaron Carter made $200 million by the time he was 11, but was broke by 18, that's 7 years, okay? In the span of 7 years. I would need to see proof of where $200 million ran through Bob and Jane in those 7 years, okay? Where did they spend it? Even the property that they once owned in Marathon, Florida, at the time that they bought it, or maybe at the time that they sold it, I think it was roughly like, let's say 15 million at best, okay? So they've accounted for 30 million, but there's, okay, so the house was 15 million. I'm talking about the entire compound, all of that, okay? You're talking about cars. Yes, they had 2 boats, but Nick was off on his own, remember? Nick was off on his own. So the only kids that had expenses would have been BJ, Angel, and Aaron, right? And Leslie, those four would be the ones that had expenses. Where did we see any of them have any kind of lifestyle or any kind of proof of $15 million worth, okay, out of the entire 30, let alone 200 million, okay? 200 million. Have you ever tried to spend $1 million? Okay, $200 million? No. That would have been like Kylie Jenner, okay, who was the first billionaire. She's buying homes that are like 35 million and but she's got like 10 of them. You know what I'm saying? They had one house. Okay. So again, the $170 million that Aaron never got paid for is what I'm saying, okay? It's my opinion. He never got that money. That would go to Jane. Now, out of the 30 million that they had, okay, that was accounted for. Because you buy a house, it's not like they spent $15 million on a house and like it burned down to the ground and, you know, because they were like having a meth lab there and it was worth like, you know, only $1 million later with the land. They purchased assets, okay? They purchased homes, vehicles, and boats, okay? They purchased assets. When those assets sold, somebody got the money. Okay, we know Aaron never got the money. We know that, okay? But somebody got the money. Now, after Aaron dies, we all of a sudden hear about this other stepdaughter by the name of Taylor Dobson, who the news reports were that she's worth $35 million and she's in her, you know, 20s and she gained all of her wealth mysteriously and she keeps a low profile. I'm like, wait a minute. Is that the money that like they really did pay Aaron? But like again, Jane got cheated out of somehow. And so now they're just like, oh, here, we'll put it over in this person's name. You know what I'm saying? As a way to kind of like human traffic / money laundering. Again, hide the nut, like President Carter likes to do with this blind trust. Again, these are just suspicions that become allegations, that become investigations. When we investigated that person, you could see it on the... Aaron has a playlist called War of Angels on my YouTube channel. You can go in there, all videos, even ones that are made by other creators are stored in there, okay? And as far as evidence and stuff like that. If she has the money, I mean, why is she a school teacher? So I don't know. I don't know if it's another narrative with the whole Lori Knight thing, or if like someone let the cat out of the bag, that she's the one that's holding the family jewels. But I mean, again, it's going to be a very thorough thing when it comes to Aaron's estate. Okay, as you can see, all the things that were up on public auction that were Aaron's. So, you know, Melanie didn't get that. Melanie got some things what she could steal, like the guitars, you know. I mean, there's a missing Rolex, but we think we know where that's at. Actually... I just remembered I gotta return that evidence in. Hold on. If you're the person that has Aaron's Rolex that's missing from the stockpile, there'll be deputies coming to pick that up soon. FYI. So it's all going to come out in the wash, and whoever you don't know about, like publicly, you know, getting processed through the, you know, judicial system, just know that like it literally took all of us to be able to bring all of this to the forefront, okay? It took 700 of his fans. It took writing 2 books. It took YouTube's participation. It took people doing research. It took resources out of the community. It took law enforcement. It took detectives. And it's still taking, like, you have no idea the undertaking that goes on with Aaron Carter's death. It's, people are working behind the scenes, but nobody wants to really have to come forward unless it's like they're being, called to testify in court or being contacted by a lawyer, because there's still an active investigation going on. I just tell you what's going on because, that's what I signed up to do, you know? I mean, they stalk me, they harass me, and stuff like that. And I deal with it like I should, standing on business and sticking up for myself and reporting, it's my copyright. I have to keep track of all of my stuff. I can't have people, using my work to get ahead in life. That's called cheating. You know what I'm saying? And it's stealing. Okay, it's not fair use. Look up fair use. So the thing is like, in the meantime, how we get justice for Aaron is like, I don't buy Downy products, okay? And I'm not going to Disney anytime soon. All right. So those kinds of things also count too. But as far as like when, when are we, when are we going to see Melanie Martin without her wig and without her eyelashes and without all of her fillers? I don't know when it's going to happen. When, like, the one OnlyFans model who killed her boyfriend in Miami, like when she got arrested in her mugshot, and then by the time you see her in court and she's just like, what I'm saying, her head down and like, But I mean, I think after several years have gone by, at that point in time, that would be a book that Melanie could write, about her experience and her involvement with, like, the cartels and, being a prostitute and an escort and, how it landed her in jail. That kind of stuff is like, now that is somebody who probably would come in and interview her, like an Anna Delvey situation, I mean, if I were her, I wouldn't kind of worry about writing a book right now because, like, quite frankly, you're just perjuring yourself, okay? But, I know you want everybody to think you're stupid, but you're not a dumb girl. You're actually very smart because you know how to manipulate, okay? And you manipulate people, and you use your sexuality to, like, get by, because that's the only thing that you have. It's kind of like a cash and carry situation with you, like, I know that you work at like that, what is it, the pump room? You guys just like go out in the back and get the after hours menu in the back parking lot. But hey, I mean, if Louis not paying child support, I guess you got to make your money somehow. I've heard that, formula is very expensive. So I'm just asking that you get deported after you do your time. I think that's appropriate. So that's about it. I'll still be working, on Aaron's case. So I just wanted to check in with everybody and let you know that, yeah, we know about all the push for the mental health thing. You know what I'm saying? But, like, I'm not hearing any stories about, like, yeah, I went to this place and they really helped me and they changed my life, Again, it's just a show. It's just, you got a bunch of these keyboard warriors that make up a bunch of marketing, and I mean, I guess they got their big celebrity endorsement with, what was it, Punky Brewster? I mean, I don't know how many people claim that they're friends with Danny Masterson now, but hey, I fully expect you to try to ride out the storm, no matter how rickety your raft is, okay? I wish you all the best, but just know that I will win in the end, because I stuck with Aaron, and that's why the fans who have stuck with me have stuck with Aaron, because I've stuck with Aaron, and that's what Aaron said. Stick with me, and you will win. That's why Chuck the Star, Chuck the Star. Oh, Chuckles. Chuck the Star. Chuck the Star. Did you see his concert the other night, Chuck the Star? He had 3 people in the audience. It was like karaoke. You know, he needed a backup singer to sing for 90 seconds. 90 seconds, okay? I bet you he's got a lot more appreciation for what Aaron Carter was doing, fighting for his life, okay? I bet you, huh, Chuck? Aren't you exhausted running from plane to plane, from time zone to time zone? You know what I mean? But you can't stay still because you know you're going to get clipped by law enforcement, you know? They just want you to think that they're getting away with things, but I guarantee you Aaron's death certificate can very easily be rewritten to homicide, okay? Are we going to get all of our requests from the universe? You know, I don't know. I just know how to put it out there and then work with the energy, and that's what we're doing. So thank you, everybody, for staying live with me. I hope you have a great week. Namaste. I'll see you when I see ya.